My name is Andrew Sullivan. I'm the International Operations Director at Stop Hunger Now. So back in 2010, we decided instead of just distributing our meals outside of the U.S. and shipping from the U.S. to actually try to export the entire program. And it was a really innovative, creative idea that we started back in 2010. And since then, it's expanded. We are now packaging meals in over 25 different countries. And just like you see here in the U.S. in Philadelphia, what's happening here in Philly, where volunteers are getting together and creating the movement to end hunger, and in educating volunteers of all ages to kind of get their hands dirty and package these meals that are then shipped to school feeding programs internationally. We are now doing this locally, where it's locally packaged with ingredients they purchase from their own backyard, helping the local economy, but then you're engaging the community and then distributing inside of the community. So it's a beautiful model that's happening. We're in, as you can see here on the wall, we're in South Africa, Malaysia, Italy, Philippines, India, and Peru. And so volunteers in those countries are rallying around this and saying that we can end hunger inside of our own countries. And they're adapting the program to fit their own cultural context. I mean, Africa certainly is hit. There's parts of South America and really Southeast Asia as well is hit, and then India. We just talked about India. So that's really kind of a couple of major areas when we're talking about hunger. I mean, people in the U.S. are hungry. We don't want to, we agree with that. There are many of really incredible organizations, even here in Philadelphia, such as Phil Abundance and Salvation Army is doing great work as well. But our focus is the international side of things. There's current statistics show that about 22,000 people a day die of hunger and lack of food. So in a world where there's plenty of food to feed everyone, really no one should be dying of food. And the regions I pointed out are the regions where are most affected when we talk about extreme hunger and malnutrition. And so kids are dying from not having enough food, and because of that they're getting common illnesses or cuts or whatever it may be, and their bodies are not strong enough to fight off those common diseases due to the malnutrition that they're experiencing, maybe getting one meal every 3 days. So by getting these meals into schools, kids are going to school, not only getting the food but then the education, which we have seen it breaks the cycle of poverty because it's giving them kind of a hand up and something that they can use throughout their generations. And then you change that generation and it changes generations after them. And a lot of times these kids are coming from poverty situations of hundreds of years of generations of poverty in their families. So these kids are going to school and really breaking that cycle of poverty. When I was recently in India about 2 weeks ago, and I got to meet a mother of, she has 5 children. And her husband left her because 5 children is when you're in an impoverished situation, is really hard to manage in terms of being able to cover the funds that are needed to take care of 5 children. So she is sending her 5 children to school where the meals are supplied by Stop Hunger Now. But this mother is going through so much stress and hard work. I mean, every day she's working 3 jobs. She's earning about $3 a day. So you're looking at about $90 a month just to make ends meet, and she's just making ends meet. And all she wants to do is get her children to school because she knows that, she even told us, she's like, my life, I don't care about my life. I want to be able to provide for my children so that they can get this education. And she looked at us and she was crying and thanking us for just providing the food, because not only is she getting the meals into the schools that are helping the children learn, getting the kids to school to help them learn, but this food is helping them feed their bodies so that they can listen in school. Their minds are gonna be able to grow. But this mom is going through all this stress every single day, and she has to make hard decisions. Are we going to eat today? If one of my children is sick, do I choose to take them to the doctor? Or do I choose to put this one through school even though we don't have the funding? Or do I take care of my own medical self? She had shared with us that she has a variety of medical problems, but she doesn't have the money to go see a doctor, and it's more important for her to use that money to get her children to school or to try to find something to eat. But she also shared that other than school, the kids, they really don't have any other funding to cover any of the costs of food. So you see these decisions that they're making, these life decisions, whether someone watching this has children, she has 2 one-year-olds as well at home, and they didn't have any diapers. They were malnourished, undernourished. They were living in a 200 square foot little room with five people. So the decisions that they're faced with are life and death decisions, and extremely difficult decisions, because you're choosing health or food over one thing or the other. And how do you make that decision? It's so difficult. So that's the one thing. And then the other thing is just the kind of emotional experience that you go through when you're faced with that type of hunger, and how much that wears in your mind and wears on your psyche and your spirit, because you feel beaten down. That can kind of really creep into your mind. And also, when you're in that situation of just daily survival, it's hard to even have the capacity to think outside of that and what else can I do to kind of get around this situation. So I commend this mother for sending her children to school, even though people in her community are telling her not to, because these girls could go work for you and make money, and why are you sending them to school? So she's making these tough decisions, and decisions that I have never had to face, or most people in the U.S. have never had to face. So it's a daily struggle.